Hey ladies and gentlemen, Steven here from Redolessence. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I can't believe I haven't done this fragrance. I actually acquired this bottle in 2013. This, of course, from the company Labo is called Santal 33. Arguably their most famous creation. I'm excited to tell you more about it, so make sure to stay tuned. Now, before I begin with my fragrance review of Santal 33 by Le Labo, such an iconic perfume, I do want to mention that if you are a fan of fragrance-related content, if you like fragrance reviews, giveaways, unboxings, top 10 lists, so on and so forth, please do consider supporting this channel by subscribing to it. All you have to do is click on that red button in the corner. And of course, while you're at it, please be sure to enable notifications by clicking on the bell. This way, whenever I do put out these videos, they will get delivered straight to your feed. You never need to worry about missing any of my future uploads. Santal 33. Obviously, I think a lot of you know Le Labo means the lab or the laboratory in French. And this is a laboratory concept or laboratory themed company whereby all of the bottles look like laboratory bottles, and their shtick, or the cool thing about this company, is that when you visit their location, very much like the one that's on Elizabeth Street in Manhattan, which I've been to so many times before, if you actually order it there at the boutique, they will compound it in front of you. So they will take the oils out of the fridge, which are kept there to, preserve them and make them last longer, but they will actually compound it right in front of you, put a fresh label on it with your name on it. I think they did away with the expiration date, to be honest with you, but they have all of this cool concept incorporated into the brand. The perfumer for this one is Frank Vocal, who has done many other fragrances for Le Labo. He's also done fragrances for Dunhill, if I'm not mistaken. He's a Firmenich perfumer. He has quite an accomplished resume, and I'm very, very impressed by his entire opus or his library of work. So here we have their sandalwood based iteration, and this is Santal 33. Santal means sandalwood. 33 is the number of ingredients that are found in this fragrance, and I'm sure most of you watching this video have actually smelled this fragrance before. If for some reason you haven't, I hope to be able to convey or communicate to you what I think this fragrance smells like and what I personally get from it. But before we do, let's go ahead and take a very quick look at the presentation. So as far as the presentation is concerned, if you've seen one, you've seen them all. The only differentiation, of course, is the name of the fragrance here on the front, the size, when it was compounded. So this one was actually compounded in 2017. That was the last time, apparently, that I visited the boutique. But I have had this refilled like 3 times. I believe I originally purchased it in 2013. And what they typically do is they'll just put a new label on the bottle. I actually have 2 boxes of this because I forgot to bring my original bottle the first time around. So I actually ended up purchasing a new bottle. Long story there. So this one I actually purchased for my wife. I purchased it before Christmas, but they actually ended up putting $12.25 on it anyway, so I thought that that was pretty cool. On the inside of the box, you will find this tissue paper, as well as a little paper on the brand. It says merci, which means thanks in French, of course, and the bottle sits in there very comfortably, so it doesn't rattle around too much. And here's the bottle. Very simple presentation, just has the name of the fragrance, the date that it was compounded, and of course, as you can tell, this apparently is the most recent one, 10/19/19. And yeah, I've had so many of these, I've lost count how many times I've had it refilled. The cap says Le Labo on it. Nothing going on at the bottom. The distribution on the atomizer is nice and wide. Let's continue with the smell. So as soon as this fragrance opens up, I get what I would describe as this spicy woodsy note. And to me, it's a combination of sandalwood and cedarwood. And cedarwood, for me at least, has always been that type of woodsy ingredient that comes across smelling peppery, as opposed to sandalwood, which is creamy, and it also has this sweet undertone. Something kind of similar to tonka bean, but not really, not nearly as sweet. And in the case of this fragrance, I do feel like, okay, there is that sandalwood, but I'm also personally getting on this papyrus note. And I've actually smelled papyrus in a few other fragrances, not many of which are coming to mind right now, but I do know that when I actually try to pin the two together and compare them, I do actually pick up on a similarity. As a matter of fact, there's another fragrance that just came to mind. I think it's called Criminal of Love by Kilian. It's an egg-shaped perfume bottle. It's a little bit sweeter, but it also has kind of a similarity to Santal 33, and I also did pick up on a little bit of a similarity as far as the note breakdown is concerned as well. So I also get a little bit of this ingredient called cypriol or nagarmotha, which in a lot of perfumes is used as a substitute for natural agarwood, because it kind of gives off like this spicy woodsy feeling to the fragrance, and I'm getting just an accent of that, and that's the only thing that I think contributes to that smoky quality. While there are some other ingredients that could come across smelling peppery, I think it's really only the nagarmotha that comes across smelling smoky. I know there's also, I think, either violet or iris in here if I'm not mistaken. You're not going to get anything floral in this fragrance. There's a little bit of cardamom as well, and I can see the sort of effect that it has in this fragrance, but most of what you're going to get is the papyrus with the sandalwood and just a touch of that cedarwood note going on in the base. So this is a woodsy fragrance, and it's a woodsy fragrance unlike other woodsy fragrances that you've probably tried, especially on the designer market. Even more recently, you know, with a lot of designer brands making their own version of Aventus or making their own version of Baccarat Rouge, whether we're talking about Explorer by Montblanc or Her by Burberry, I don't think there has been a designer fragrance, I could be wrong, but I don't think there has been a commercially and widely available designer fragrance that quite smells super close to Santal 33. There have been a lot of Zara inspirations, and that's probably as far as you'll go, but the longevity on those is so bad that they're probably not even worth bringing up. Santal 33 is such an iconic fragrance. There was actually an article published, I think a few years ago, that mentioned that this is the smell of New York City. And as a matter of fact, I visited the Le Labo boutique a few weeks ago with my friend, and there was a huge line outside, and people were actually lined up and waiting to go inside the boutique, not necessarily to purchase anything, but just to sort of explore and window shop and smell around. And so I think that that speaks a lot to the brand's popularity and just how well known it is as a company. Le Labo is a common name in fragrance houses, if you will. You know, people who are really into niche perfumes, they inevitably and unquestionably know about Le Labo. And I really do feel as though this is one of their best-selling fragrances, and I'm sure it is their best-selling fragrance. You know, they have a lot of really good offerings. They have patchouli, which is a little hard to get along with, but it's one of my personal favorites by Anique Minardo. Rose 31 is a spicy rose. It's a natural smelling rose with a little bit of cumin in there as well. Oud 27 is probably one of their most challenging fragrances. Benjoin 19, which is composed by the same perfumer, Frank Vocal, if I'm not mistaken, is an amazing resinous fragrance with just a touch of sweetness, a touch of smoke. But Santal 33 is the most iconic fragrance from the brand, and I would even go as far as saying it's the most cloned fragrance from the brand, because yes, Bergamot 2, I've smelled a few inspirations of that. Vetiver 46, Mark Buxton, I think, has utilized that DNA in so many of his fragrances. But in the case of Santal 33, I smell this fragrance at least once a month if I'm going out, especially in New York City, because that seems to be the place where everybody is wearing this fragrance. But if you're looking for a sandalwood-based fragrance, look no further. Santal 33 is the best in class. It is one of the most iconic fragrances out there, and very much like Baccarat Rouge or Creed Aventus or Green Irish Tweed, I would say this is one fragrance, even for reference reasons, I think everybody should have in their collection, even if it means acquiring a 15 ml travel atomizer. Of course, you can run through that very quickly. I personally purchased the 50 ml bottle, and like I said, I've had it refilled 3 times because my wife loves this fragrance. As a matter of fact, every Christmas time, right around the holidays, I always buy her a new bottle, and she wears it like nobody's business right around this time of the year. So she loves this fragrance. I personally enjoy this fragrance too. I'm not afraid to go a little bit darker, which is why I also wear Patchouli 24 and Vetiver 46, and even the animalic quality of Labdanum 18, a Maurice Roussel fragrance, is amazing. But Santal 33, one of the best that the brand has to offer, if not the best, as far as universal opinion is concerned. Let's go ahead and finish things off with my overall assessment. So first up, in terms of the uniqueness and the overall smell, Now the smell isn't as unique because it's become such a ubiquitous DNA, and so many companies, mostly niche, are kind of creating their own twist or their own version of the Santal 33 gene. But at the time when it came out, 100% this was a unique fragrance, and this one will hold it down as the fragrance that pioneered it, really started it, and put this DNA into place. And it's an incredible fragrance. You have my word for it. If you haven't smelled this one, it is one of the most iconic fragrances out there. I do have to reiterate that point, so definitely make sure you go out there, check it out. I have a really good feeling you're going to love this one. In terms of the longevity, expect 10+ hours on your skin. This is a very long lasting fragrance for me personally, along with Patchouli 24 and Oud 27. Projection on this fragrance is also very good for the first 3 to 3.5 hours. It didn't actually start to sit closer to the skin until about that 8-hour mark, but even at that 8-hour mark, I still felt like I was able to smell it off myself. It's just not as loud as it was when you first put it on. Versatility, I find it to be pretty versatile. I know Le Labo prices are definitely niche, and so if that's a lot of money for you to fork up for a fragrance, then I would suggest wearing it on a special occasion if you really want to feel like you're not overusing or abusing your fragrance. But otherwise, I would say wear it casually. There's just something about it, you know, it has this sort of cozy ambiance about it, that spiciness, that subtle smokiness, the woodsiness, that peppery, spicy cardamom quality. It's definitely cozy smelling. So I personally do enjoy wearing it casually, and my wife wears it 10 times more than I do. But even then, I love smelling it on her, even when we're running errands or just performing casual tasks. I think this one is perfectly unisex. I think this is probably better suited for somebody 25 and up. And I think in terms of the presentation, you guys know the concept of the brand. I think it's pretty cool. My final verdict on this fragrance is it is one of the best in class, most iconic fragrances on the market. No doubt about that. Everybody knows Santal 33. If you don't know about it, you have probably been living under a rock, or you just don't have access to Le Labo fragrances where you live, and that's 100% forgivable. No knock there. But I do know that if I had not lived in northern New Jersey, so close to the boutique, which is located in Manhattan, I probably wouldn't have smelled it as well, because it's just, it kind of goes against that experience of being able to visit the boutique, get it compounded in front of you, have your name printed on the bottle, which is, I think, one of the really cool aspects regarding this. But even when you purchase it online, you know, you can always get it refilled. You can always get it for a better price. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. That was my fragrance review of Santal 33 by Le Labo. If you own or have tried, and I'm sure many of you have, if you own or have tried this fragrance, please let me know what you think. Go ahead and leave a comment down below. And also, please don't forget to subscribe for future videos. And of course, that includes reviews just like this, but also top 10 videos, giveaways, unboxings, special guests, and more. Thanks again for watching. I love you all. We'll see you next time. Bye.